Hello everybody, my name is Mason and I'm a college student. Not a film student, I just happen to really like film. And today we are talking about The Northman. Now, The Northman is a movie that I have been pretty excited for, especially when I started hearing the reviews of the early screenings from it from critics about a month ago or so. And it didn't really live up to the hype that that I had for it, which is fine. Like, I was really excited for this movie, and I did like it. I quite enjoyed it, but it wasn't that you know amazing movie I was going into. And I try to leave my expectations at the door. I wasn't walking in there like, if this is the best movie in the world, I'm gonna hate it or anything like that. I left the movie to its own terms, and you know, despite for me, a very slow start, I thought the movie handled itself quite well. I found the story to be, not anything spectacular, but also it was good. Like, I rooted for main character for his journey, right? And you see in the trailers that as a kid, his king father is killed by his uncle, and his mom is taken by the uncle, and the kid exiles himself, and he wants his revenge, right? It's a classic revenge tale in a Viking art house story. And that's what the movie is. I can't really describe it any more than that. And it's a very beautifully shot film. The acting is wonderful. Skarsgård is amazing. Anya Taylor-Joy, as always, is great. There's no nitpicks in any of the performances in this film. There's definitely none in any of the cinematography or like the color grading. Let's talk about the color grading. This movie does something that I haven't really seen too much of, and that I could even recall right now, is that the director chooses to show absence of color in certain scenes, or really just black and white, I guess is probably the best way to describe it. But then, like, immediately in the same scene, you just see more light come through the shot. So basically, when it's at night outside, the screen was black and white. But as soon as, like, a door opens up and you see, like, a fire pit inside or something, you see that bright orange light, and it kind of just flows over the screen, and all of a sudden you have color again. And I thought that was a very good choice. I don't think a lot of people may have noticed that. Like, my friend didn't notice it whenever the movie was going on, and I talked about, did you see how it was black and white? So I just wanted to point that out. And I quite enjoyed that aesthetic choice. One of the interesting things about the movie is like the dialogue itself. It's very Shakespeare. It's a lot of like poetic lines, very, ooh, art thou, blah blah blah, right, kind of stuff. Very, for lack of a better word, it's just poetic. It's very Shakespeare, and normally I don't really care for that kind of dialogue in movies, but it really worked in this sense. I mean, this is a very Shakespeare type story of, you know, revenge, and there's a lot of character conflict in this film. This is a very character driven movie. This is not, Braveheart with Vikings, right? This focuses on the main character and the choices he makes, and the choices of other people and how they affected him, and the choices he makes, how it affects others. And yeah, it's basically a Shakespearean tale about Vikings and revenge, and it's quite good. Now, I mentioned this movie having a somewhat slow start. It didn't really pick up for me until they get to Iceland. Now, I'm not going to explain how or why because I don't really want to talk about the specific details of the movie. But, up from the beginning of the movie, which you would assume from the trailer is, he's a kid, right? And then his father is murdered, right? That stuff was fine. And it wasn't like it was uninteresting to watch, but it didn't it didn't grab me. I wasn't like, oh my god, you've gotta get revenge, It's like, But Iceland. That's when the movie takes a turn. And you're like, oh, okay, so this is what this movie's gonna have happen. And that's when I was like, I had my popcorn. It's when I set my popcorn down and I sat there and I watched. And it was wonderful. This is a great revenge tale that leads into a final battle, right? That is very Star Wars, but actually good. I mean, not saying I hate Star Wars or anything, but this is like there's. I feel like I just made it sound like I hate Star Wars. I don't hate Star Wars. I love Star Wars, but this is like very. This is if Star Wars, specifically one of the prequel movies, was an art house film. There's a lot of character. This is action with narrative purpose. And yes, there's narrative purpose in Star Wars action as well. I'm not hating that. But it's just so deep in character, and the ending is very satisfying. I guess is the best way to describe it. And left me happy with what I watched. And like I said, this is not the movie that I'm like, this is not Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is not the best film of the year. But would I say this is a top 3 movie of the year? Yes, definitely. This is a great movie. It's not the best movie I've ever seen, but it is wonderful. And I think if you like these types of art house films that are very slow, they're not just tons of action all the time, which there is a decent amount of action, but it is definitely no like Braveheart or anything like that. I think you will enjoy this movie. I mean, a lot of people are enjoying this movie, at least those that have gone to see it. It did not do too hot at the box office, but it was delicious. Anyways, if you like what you've seen here today, please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you thought. If you want to see more content like this, please go ahead and leave a like on this video and subscribe as always. Until next time, my name is Mason, and I will catch you in the next review. Take care. Bye-bye.